We start with Decision 2024 and the battle for the Arizona State Legislature. The 90 lawmakers who make more of an impact on your daily life than perhaps anybody else on the November ballot. Republicans have controlled the two chambers for decades. They're down to a one-vote majority. Now a motivated Democratic Governor, Katie Hobbs, backed by truckloads of cash, wants to put her party in charge. Can Hobbs engineer a takeover? Can Republicans hold on to their slim one-vote majority? Hank Stephenson, co-founder of the indispensable Arizona Agenda, has rated all 90 races with his team. He's here to talk about the handful that are going to make a difference. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So why are these legislative districts, why are so few of them important? Why do so few of them matter?
Well, they're all important in the primary election, but by the time we get to November, there are only 6-ish of 30 districts that are even close enough to put on a competitive map. And so it falls to, about a very small percent of the voters to pick these seats that are going to determine whether the legislature is in Republican control or Democrat control.
And when I say, check me on this, when I say this might be the election that matters most to voters, what does the legislature do that affects our lives?
A little bit of everything. I mean, the state budget and everything that goes into that, water regulation, energy policy at times, literally everything that you can think of basically touches the state level in some way or another.
Taxes, school choice,
sure.
You name it, big issues. And as we saw this year, abortion.
Abortion, education funding, prisons, you name it.
Now, a lot of folks want to point to this and say, oh, it's gerrymandering, that's why the districts are where they are and so few matter. Is it gerrymandering or are we different?
Depends on how you define gerrymandering. We have an independent commission that draws our districts, which is very different from a lot of states where the state legislators draw their own districts, essentially. But, I mean, it's still a partisan political process. These lines were drawn into funny little shapes that you associate with gerrymandering for political reasons a lot of times.
Now, one of the themes this cycle and in 2022, and I think in 2020 as well, was the Democrats had a majority in the legislature within their grasp and just couldn't pull it off.
Almost as long as I can remember. It's been the Democrats say this year is the year we're within reach, and they just couldn't pull it off.
Okay, so Lucy keeps pulling the football away. Why? Why do they keep falling short?
Well, last year, they came really close to tying up the state house, but they lost a Democratic seat, a seat that very much should have been Democratic, and that kind of killed their chances of taking it over. It's always just this, one little screw up, just kind of kicking the ball down the road a little bit.
So is it strategy? Because there is this single-shot strategy, so-called single-shot strategy that a lot of people question. Is it money? Is it something else? Candidates?
It's a matter of time. Yeah, it's candidates. I think the money has always been on the Democrat side, by and large, in most of the recent races. I think that it's just kind of waiting for Arizona to turn that corner. We've become a purple-ish state, but we haven't become a blue state yet. And that's going to take time, that's going to take money, that's going to take discipline, focus, and better candidates in some cases.
And talk about the money. Major fundraising committee announced, I think, $300,000 commitment.
Pennies.
Pennies, okay.
Pennies.
Pennies, you brush it off.
Yeah.
Because there's a much bigger bank account out there.
The Steven Spielberg PAC.
What?
The Steven Spielberg PAC. There's a bunch of Hollywood A-listers that have been donating to a big national PAC that has a significant presence in Arizona. They're sitting on about $13 million worth of funding that they say they're putting into legislative races to help flip the legislature blue. A lot of the Democrats are looking at this PAC, and the locals don't really know what's happening with it. Not a lot of money has been spent, but there is a huge pile of money. I mean, we're talking $13 million to flip 6, 7 legislative districs.
How do you spend that much money in the, 50 days until early voting?
That is a wonderful question. I have no idea. The best kind of gossip that I hear is people think that it's going to be targeted towards Democrats, but focusing on the message of abortion. So kind of a dual purpose PAC. But it is kind of a mystery. Everyone's looking at this. I mean, there's like Matt Damon on there. There's, some really...
Matt Damon wants to flip our legislature.
There's a lot of Hollywood types on there.
That's quite a thought. Okay, let's drill down to just a few of the races that matter. and I want to give folks a spoiler alert. What was your team's analysis?
With the heavy footnote that we don't expect these predictions to necessarily be correct and that we may update our rankings ahead of November, I think that there's a very good chance that the state Senate gets split 15-15. And I think my best math to the state House says Republicans keep it by 1 seat.
1 seat. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that and call you on it. We've got that on tape now.
I may change my mind before the election, though.
Let's look at a couple of the key districts. LD4, Phoenix, Scottsdale, swingiest district in the state. Democrats and Republicans both fielding 2 candidates. One of each represents the district in the House. This would appear to be set up for Dems to take both seats. Matt Gress is the incumbent Republican there. The abortion issue, in theory, would play well in this district. Your thoughts?
Yes, this is like a kind of a, wealthy Eastern Phoenix district, generally Republican, but not like, hardcore MAGA, not social issues. It's an economic Republican area. Matt Gress has, played well with that. I think the fact that he was one of the high-profile Republicans talking about repealing the territorial era abortion ban probably helps him to some degree, but this is an area where Democrats have been making inroads over time. Best case scenario, I kind of think for Republicans would be holding that 1 seat with Matt Gress.
Okay, Christine Marsh is the state senator there, also faces a tough fight. Real quick, LD2, Republican incumbent Shauna Bullock, Senator Shauna Bullock versus Democratic Rep. Judy Schweibert, moving up from the House.
Yeah, this is an interesting lawmaker-on-lawmaker dynamic, and Shauna Bullock was also out there in front of this abortion issue. She voted to repeal the territorial era abortion
With a
ban.
very long, tortured speech.
Yes, and a very long history of doing the exact opposite of that. I think her husband, Supreme Court Justice Clint Bullock, is up on the ballot. The abortion people are focusing their attention on him. I think there's some trickle down there. I put that as a Democratically leaning district, let's say.
Okay, LD2, LD4, also watch LD13, LD17, wish we could get to them now, but we can't. Hank Stephenson, thanks so much for joining us, and happy birthday to the agenda. 3 years
Thank
old.
you. 3 years.
Quite
3 years of finger blistering labor over here.
You're still with us, and we thank you so much.